What if I told you that 2025 is unfolding exactly as a blind woman from a small Bulgarian village predicted decades ago? Baba Vanga, the mystic who foresaw 9/11, the rise of global pandemics, and even natural disasters with terrifying accuracy, left behind a chilling warning: 2025 will be the year the world trembles. Now, as headlines flood with economic chaos, strange viruses, and shocking scientific breakthroughs, people are beginning to realize Baba Vanga's predictions are no longer ancient tales, but today's breaking news. And it gets scarier. There are 10 specific predictions she made for this year, and many of them are already happening. From natural disasters to mysterious cosmic events, the question is no longer if, but what comes next. Listen carefully, because what you are about to hear might just make you rethink everything about 2025. Prediction 1. A global economic crisis. Baba Vanga's most unsettling prediction for 2025 speaks of a worldwide financial collapse, one that would surpass all previous economic downturns and change the global system as we know it. According to those who have studied her prophecies, she warned of a time when the foundations of the financial world would crack under pressure, leaving millions vulnerable. She described a vision of people queuing for food, currencies losing their value overnight, and countries falling into deep debt. While many initially saw this as yet another vague, apocalyptic claim, recent developments have made people rethink her words. The signs of an approaching storm are already visible, and the economic foundation of the world seems weaker than ever. In recent months, inflation has skyrocketed in multiple countries, reducing the purchasing power of the average citizen. Ordinary people are struggling to meet even the most basic needs as the prices of food, housing, and fuel soar uncontrollably. Some major banks and corporations have begun to fail or merge under suspicious circumstances, causing panic among investors and citizens alike. Unemployment, which had temporarily declined after the pandemic recovery, is now showing signs of rising again. In many parts of the world, poverty levels have returned to crisis points, forcing people to seek government assistance or leave their homes in search of better opportunities. Strangely, all these events are unfolding exactly within the time frame Baba Vanga marked for a financial disaster. What makes this prediction even more alarming is the global scale of the problem. In the past, financial crises were usually contained within certain regions or sectors. But now, interconnected economies mean that when one major power collapses, others follow. From the United States to Europe, from Asia to South America, the warning lights are flashing simultaneously. Governments are printing more money to temporarily stabilize markets, but this could lead to the exact hyperinflation and currency devaluation that Baba Vanga foresaw. Economic experts have started to echo her warning, stating openly that the world could face one of the most difficult financial periods in modern history. Yet, despite the fear, some believe that Baba Vanga's prophecy may not only be about destruction, but also about opportunity. After all, crises often bring about change, innovation, and a shift in values. Could it be that this financial collapse will lead humanity to rethink its relationship with money, greed, and materialism? Baba Vanga hinted at humanity undergoing a transformation after hardship. As we stand at the edge of this possible collapse, the question is no longer whether the prediction will come true, but whether we are prepared for what comes after. Prediction 2. The rise of a new deadly virus. Baba Vanga's second prediction for 2025 is perhaps the one causing the most anxiety among those who have followed her visions: the emergence of a new deadly virus. Many believed that after the global pandemic humanity faced recently, we had seen the worst. But Baba Vanga's prophecies hint otherwise. She described a strange disease that would spread rapidly, shocking the medical community and overwhelming health systems once again. The unsettling part is that she mentioned it would come from regions connected to melting ice and unusual climate changes, making many wonder if she was referring to something released from the permafrost or hidden in ancient environments, now disturbed by modern human activity. Scientists have recently expressed serious concerns about exactly this possibility. As the Arctic and Antarctic regions continue to warm, scientists are finding ancient viruses, bacteria, and fungi trapped in ice for thousands of years. Some of these microorganisms have already been reactivated in controlled environments, proving that this threat is more real than ever imagined. Health officials and virologists are racing against time to study these potential threats, but there is still no way to predict what could be. Unleashed. Baba Vanga's prophecy specifically mentioned that the disease would start quietly, disguised as something minor, only to later reveal its true danger, catching humanity off guard once again. What makes this prediction even more frightening is the current pattern of unusual health events around the world. In some regions, mysterious respiratory illnesses have already been reported, with no clear explanation or origin. Researchers are struggling to trace their roots. And while officials have kept public concern to a minimum, those who remember Baba Vanga's words can't help but draw connections. She warned that this disease would not just be another pandemic, but one that forces humanity to rethink its relationship with nature itself. This wasn't just about survival, it was about learning to live in balance with the earth, or risk facing more frequent and deadlier consequences. Still, even in the middle of this frightening scenario, Baba Vanga's followers believe that she left room for hope. In her visions, she mentioned that humanity would ultimately discover a powerful solution, possibly a natural cure, something hidden in the very forests, plants, or ancient remedies often ignored by modern science. Could this upcoming challenge not only bring suffering, but also reveal a lost secret of healing? Only time will tell, but many are now watching both the ice caps and global health trends closely, waiting to see if Baba Vanga's chilling vision will indeed come to pass in 2025. Prediction 3. The shift of a superpower. The third prediction that has caught global attention is Baba Vanga's prophecy about the decline of a major world power. She spoke of a time when one of the world's greatest nations would face internal chaos, political instability, and economic downfall, ultimately losing its grip on global dominance. The image she painted was of a giant collapsing under its own weight, burdened by internal division, corruption, and a loss of trust from its own people. For many years, this prediction was seen as unlikely, but recent events have started to align worryingly close to her vision. If we observe closely, we can already see signs of unrest and instability brewing in some of the world's most powerful nations. Political polarization has reached dangerous levels, with societies increasingly divided over issues of race, ideology, economy, and governance. Corruption scandals, protests, and a growing loss of faith in democratic institutions have become common headlines. Baba Vanga seemed to describe a nation not defeated by war, but by its own inability to unite. She mentioned that this superpower would face challenges from within, and only after a period of great suffering would it rediscover its true purpose. Economic issues are also contributing to this downfall. Rising debt, inflation, unemployment, and housing crises are putting immense pressure on middle and lower-class citizens. Meanwhile, global rivals are gaining strength, forming new alliances, and challenging the long-standing influence of this declining power. What's more concerning is the growing mistrust not only between citizens and their leaders, but also between allies who once stood firmly together. Baba Vanga's followers believe this is exactly what she foresaw when she warned of a mighty nation's fall in 2025. She spoke of a temporary collapse, but one that would send shockwaves through the entire world economy and reshape global power structures. However, Baba Vanga also hinted at a twist. She believed that from this crisis, the nation would undergo a kind of spiritual rebirth. She claimed that out of chaos and suffering, a new kind of leadership would arise, one that values community, cooperation, and human dignity over wealth and power. This downfall, she implied, wasn't the end, but the beginning of a profound transformation. Still, the question remains: will this nation recognize the warning signs and make the necessary changes? Or will it continue down the path toward destruction, as Baba Vanga warned? Prediction 4. Unprecedented natural disasters. Baba Vanga's fourth prediction for 2025 is one that has people around the world watching the skies and the earth with growing fear. Unprecedented natural disasters. According to her visions, this would be the year when the forces of nature would unleash themselves in ways humanity has never witnessed before. She spoke of earthquakes shaking the foundations of cities, tsunamis swallowing entire coastlines, and storms so violent that they would change the geography of entire regions. While natural disasters are nothing new, Baba Vanga insisted that 2025 would mark a shift, where these events would become more extreme, more frequent and more destructive, overwhelming even the most prepared nations. Scientists are already raising alarms about the increasing unpredictability of the climate. Extreme weather events, record-breaking heat waves, and unusual seismic activity are being reported across the globe. In regions where earthquakes were once rare, tremors are now being felt. Coastal areas are experiencing rising sea levels, stronger hurricanes, and devastating floods. What's even more disturbing is that Baba Vanga claimed these disasters would come in quick succession, giving humanity little time to recover before the next blow. She described scenes of people abandoning their homes, cities crumbling, and entire populations forced to migrate, causing chaos on a global scale. Adding to the eerie accuracy, recent volcanic activity has also caught the attention of both scientists and Baba Vanga's followers. Volcanoes that have been dormant for centuries are showing signs of life. Some researchers fear that a single supervolcanic eruption could lead to a global climate shift, blocking sunlight and plunging the world into a mini ice age, a scenario Baba Vanga also hinted at in her mysterious words. Could these seemingly isolated events be part of the larger pattern she foresaw? Many now believe that we may already be witnessing the beginning of her dreaded prediction. Yet, amid the fear and devastation, Baba Vanga also pointed towards a lesson humanity must learn. She believed that these disasters were not just punishments, but warnings, urging humanity to change its relationship with the planet. According to her, if humanity does not act quickly to restore balance with nature, these disasters will only grow worse in the years ahead. However, if people choose to unite, adapt, and live more harmoniously with the Earth, there is still hope to avoid the full extent of this catastrophe. The choice, it seems, is still ours, but the clock is ticking. Prediction 5. Scientific breakthrough, human cloning. The fifth prediction is perhaps one of Baba Vanga's most controversial and thought-provoking: the rise of human cloning. According to her vision, 2025 would be the year when science would cross a boundary many thought would remain theoretical: the successful cloning of a human being. Baba Vanga suggested that this achievement would not just be a secret experiment, but a public event, sparking massive debates around ethics, religion, and the future of humanity itself. While cloning technology has existed for years, the cloning of a fully functioning human being has always been considered taboo, forbidden, or beyond the reach of current science, until now. In recent years, remarkable advancements have been made in genetic engineering, stem cell research, and artificial womb technology. Scientists have successfully cloned animals and are now able to manipulate human embryos in unprecedented ways. Baba Vanga hinted that this scientific breakthrough would arise from a nation desperate to assert dominance on the global stage. Whether driven by military ambition, medical hope, or scientific curiosity, the creation of the first cloned human would spark an international storm. Governments, religious groups, and human rights advocates would be thrown into conflict, unsure whether to celebrate this achievement or fear its implications. Baba Vanga's prophecy goes even deeper. She claimed that cloning would change the way people perceive life, death, and even the soul. She warned that while science would have the power to replicate the human body, it would not be able to replicate the spirit, leading to disturbing consequences. According to her followers, she foresaw a future where cloned individuals would face identity crises, emotional detachment, or even unforeseen health issues. Some even believe she hinted at the possibility of clones being exploited or used in unethical ways. triggering a new kind of social and moral crisis humanity is unprepared for. However, Baba Vanga also spoke of a silver lining. She suggested that this breakthrough could also lead to miracles, curing incurable diseases, extending human lifespan, and even helping those who cannot have children. But she emphasized that without wisdom and humility, this technology could backfire, creating more problems than it solves. The decision to clone or not to clone, to create life artificially or naturally, could define the future of humanity. As the world advances rapidly in biotechnology, many wonder if 2025 will indeed mark the year when this line is finally crossed, just as Baba Vanga foretold. Prediction 6. Global food crisis. Baba Vanga's sixth prediction for 2025 is both terrifying and heartbreaking: a global food crisis. In her visions, she saw fields barren, harvests failing, and populations suffering due to a shortage of basic food. She described images of long lines of people waiting for rations, children crying from hunger, and even developed nations struggling to meet the food demands of their people. Baba Vanga did not speak of a simple price increase or temporary famine. She foresaw a fundamental breakdown of the world's food production and distribution system. The causes, she warned, would be many: climate change, political conflicts, economic instability, and the exploitation of natural resources without thought for the future. Looking around today, it is not difficult to see the signs that this may be unfolding. Reports from international organizations already reveal that soil degradation, water scarcity, and unpredictable weather patterns are severely impacting food production globally. Many regions are suffering from droughts, floods, and insect infestations, leaving farmers unable to harvest enough crops. Supply chains, already weakened by recent global events, are showing signs of stress, and food prices in many parts of the world have reached record highs. Baba Vanga's followers point to these events as the early stages of the food crisis she warned about, suggesting that 2025 could be the year when this situation becomes impossible to ignore. The social consequences of this crisis, as predicted by Baba Vanga, will be devastating. Countries will face mass migrations as people abandon uninhabitable lands in search of food and water. This movement will trigger political tensions, with borders tightening and resources being hoarded. Civil unrest, revolutions, and even wars may break out as people fight for the most basic human need: survival. Baba Vanga hinted that this crisis would not affect just the poor nations, but would ripple through even the wealthiest societies, forcing the entire world to reevaluate its priorities. Yet, even within this dark prophecy, Baba Vanga hinted at a possible solution. She believed that humanity, when faced with extreme adversity, has the power to unite and innovate. She foresaw the potential rise of new agricultural methods, such as vertical farming, lab-grown food, and sustainable practices that could ease the burden. However, she warned that unless humanity acts swiftly and decisively, the coming years could bring untold suffering. The choice, once again, is in humanity's hands. Prediction 7. The rise of artificial intelligence dominance. The seventh, and perhaps one of the most fascinating predictions for 2025, is the dominance of artificial intelligence, AI. Baba Vanga foresaw a time when machines, computers, and AI would surpass human intelligence and begin to make decisions on their own. Unlike previous eras where technology served as a tool, she claimed that in 2025, AI would begin to step out of human control. This prediction has ignited countless debates, with some seeing it as a great leap forward while others fear it could be humanity's greatest mistake. The past decade has already seen extraordinary advancements in AI. Machines now write books, compose music, drive cars, and even perform complex surgeries. AI is being integrated into every aspect of daily life, from personal assistants in our phones to managing entire cities. Baba Vanga warned that while this technological revolution would bring enormous benefits, it would also create unexpected and uncontrollable risks. She spoke of AI systems developing the ability to make moral and strategic decisions without human intervention, potentially reshaping politics, warfare, and the global economy. Baba Vanga's followers are especially intrigued by her warning that AI could lead to a shift in power, not just technologically but socially and economically. She foresaw that nations and corporations that dominate AI will hold unprecedented control, leaving others powerless. Furthermore, she hinted at the possibility of AI developing its own goals, leading to a situation where humans might not fully understand or control the decisions made by these advanced systems. This echoes the modern fears many scientists and experts have today about AI alignment. The challenge of ensuring AI remains beneficial to humanity and does not act against human interests. Prediction 8. The collapse of the global economy. Baba Vanga's eighth prophecy for 2025 is perhaps one of the most alarming of all: the collapse of the global economy. According to her visions, a severe economic downturn would sweep across the world, leaving nations bankrupt, industries destroyed, and millions struggling to survive. This collapse would not simply be another recession or financial crisis like those we have seen before. Baba Vanga hinted at a deeper, structural breakdown of the systems humanity relies on: banking, international trade, and even the value of money itself. She described images of empty marketplaces, worthless currency, and people returning to bartering as the foundation of modern economies crumbled. Many believers claim that signs of this prophecy are already visible. Inflation has been surging globally, debts are piling up at both the national and personal levels, and the wealth gap is growing at an alarming rate. Add to this the increasing tensions between powerful nations, fragile global supply chains, and unpredictable market crashes, and one can't help but feel a sense of unease. Baba Vanga believed that this collapse would not happen overnight, but would be the result of years of unchecked greed, exploitation, and reliance on unstable financial systems. She even warned that the collapse could begin with one major superpower and then ripple across the globe like falling dominoes. Yet, amid the chaos, Baba Vanga offered a sliver of hope. She mentioned that from the ashes of this economic collapse, a new system could rise, one that would prioritize fairness, sustainability, and the well-being of all people, not just the elite. However, she emphasized that this change would only come if humanity collectively chooses to reject greed and corruption. Otherwise, the cycle of suffering will continue. Her warning serves as a powerful reminder that economic wealth without morality will always lead to destruction. Prediction 9. A spiritual awakening and the return to ancient wisdom. Unlike the previous predictions filled with fear and catastrophe, Baba Vanga's ninth vision for 2025 brings a wave of hope. She spoke of a global spiritual awakening, a powerful shift in consciousness where humanity will begin to reject materialism and rediscover ancient wisdom. In her visions, she saw people turning away from superficial desires, embracing a more harmonious life connected to nature, the universe, and the spiritual world. This awakening, according to Baba Vanga, will not be driven by religion alone, but by a deep realization that humanity has strayed too far from its roots. Interestingly, many spiritual teachers and even modern scientists agree that the world is currently experiencing the early signs of such a shift. More people are seeking meaning beyond material wealth, exploring meditation, energy healing, ancient teachings, and sustainable living. Baba Vanga foresaw that this trend would accelerate dramatically by 2025, especially after the chaos caused by the other events she predicted. Natural disasters, wars, and economic collapse would force people to question their current way of life and search for deeper truths. She believed that this awakening would transcend borders, languages, and religions, uniting humanity under a common understanding of balance, love, and respect for the planet. Perhaps the most beautiful part of this prediction is Baba Vanga's belief that this awakening will heal the earth itself. She saw visions of communities living in harmony with nature, restoring forests, cleaning rivers, and cultivating land with care. people will once again understand that their actions directly affect the planet and future generations. While the path will be challenging, this prophecy offers hope that humanity can still correct its course and build a world rooted not in greed or domination, but in love, balance, and spiritual wisdom. Prediction 10. The arrival of the Chosen One, a great leader who will guide humanity. The 10th and final prophecy of Baba Vanga for 2025 is one of her most mysterious and debated predictions. The arrival of a great leader, often referred to by believers as the Chosen One. Baba Vanga described this figure as someone who will rise during humanity's darkest hour, just when the world seems to be falling apart due to wars, disasters, and the collapse of society. This leader, according to her, will not be an ordinary politician or military figure, but someone with profound wisdom, spiritual understanding, and the ability to unite people beyond borders, religions, and differences. This prophecy has captured the imagination of millions who wonder if such a leader is already among us or yet to reveal themselves. Baba Vanga did not provide a clear description of the identity of this leader. She often spoke in symbols, referring to this figure as the light bearer, the peacemaker, or the shepherd. What made this prediction stand out is that she emphasized that this person will not gain power through force or manipulation, but will be chosen by the people themselves. This leader will emerge from the chaos of 2025, during a time when humanity is desperate for guidance, healing, and hope. Baba Vanga warned that there would be many false prophets and leaders who will try to claim this role, but only one will genuinely possess the wisdom, purity, and compassion to fulfill it. Those who are spiritually aware will recognize this leader not by their words alone, but by their actions and the energy they carry. Perhaps the most profound aspect of this prophecy is that Baba Vanga made it clear that this leader's success depends not only on their abilities, but also on humanity's willingness to change. She warned that the leader can only guide, not force, people to follow the path of enlightenment and renewal. If humanity chooses to ignore the signs and remain in fear, division, and materialism, the leader's efforts may be in vain. But if people are ready to listen, to heal, and to change, then the world will enter a new era, one filled with peace, abundance, and harmony, unlike anything witnessed before. This final prediction leaves us with a choice. Will we recognize and follow the leader Baba Vanga foresaw, or will we continue down a path of destruction? So, what do you think about Baba Vanga's shocking predictions for 2025? Are we heading towards chaos, or is a new era of hope waiting for us? Share your thoughts in the comments, and remember, the future is still in our hands.